All right, Coach Nick, appreciate you engaging me today. Today's topic is 1 + 1 = 3. And it came about the other day when I was at my eye doctor appointment, my checkup.
Yeah.
And I had the spoon over one eye, read the lines, I had the spoon over the other eye, read the lines, and then I had no spoon over my eyes, and I could see even better. And I said, Doc, is this right? I can see better than both eyes individually combined. He said, absolutely, that's completely true. I got to thinking, I think that's true in a lot of things in life, that collaborative efforts are much more powerful than individual efforts. And when you bring two people together in a common place and just have a discussion or a content creation powwow, both people have the capabilities of what's being discussed, but one sees it from one angle and then another sees it from another. And you're just, before you know it, you're creating something that neither one of you can create on your own, but together is just beautiful, and it's valuable, and it's even better than just one person could create on their own.
Yeah. Wow. I love this concept. And I think that's just as you were saying that, it's like the basis of everything that's change, because you've got your own perspectives, and depending on where you are in your journey, you've come to that perspective based on experiences, based on feedback, and you're going to project that, what you think is valuable, out into the world. And someone else could be the same age as you, could be working in the same career as you, could be living in the same country as you, brought up in a similar way. But even if those things are similar, the perspectives are different because the experiences aren't never going to be exactly the same. Like, everyone is themselves, and everyone's intrinsically valuable by themselves. So the perspective is always going to be different, even if it's subtly different. So the process itself can't not create something else. It can't not create something that's brand new. Like, it's more ingredients in the pot.
Yeah. And I also think, just like one eye is not going to get mad at the other for interfering and creating something better, there has to be that openness, no pun intended, to the, like an eyelid. There has to be the openness to come together in that marketplace and set ego aside, bring up some humility, and be willing to listen to what the other side has to offer.
That's interesting, because what if it was like, what if the other eye was mad at the other eye, not open?
What's it going to do? Close? It shuts itself?
There you go, right? But like, extend the analogy. So I guess if you're not open, by default, you're closed.
Right.
If you can see 50% of the good stuff with one eye open, and you can see 100%, well, I guess what we're saying is, if you've got 50% with one eye open and with two eyes open, you get 150%, right?
Right.
And if you're not open, you can't even see the 50%.
Right. Yes. Might be zero.
Might be 0.
Mm-hmm.
Go around in circles.
Yeah, and I think it can apply to many different things. So you think of somebody at the management level making a decision for the company. They think they see things so clearly, won't implement a policy, and before they know it, the whole company's mad at them. They're looking at it through one eyeball. So I think a good manager gets other people involved, asks their opinion, and comes up with things that they didn't know about. And then collectively, as a team or as a group, they can implement policy that's going to be the most effective for the largest number of people at the company and their customers.
And their customers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've not just got 1 + 1 = 3 eyeballs. You've got an exponential amount, really, depending on who you're bringing in. So what's the safety net? Like, is there too much?
I think there has to be some guidance, right? Some sort of facilitation to make sure that it's a good space and people feel comfortable in it. But yeah, I come back to the question, like 1 + 1 = 3. How do we get to that number? And then is it possible to decide what 1 + 1 + 1 is, or 1 + 1 + 1 + 1? Like, what does that actually equal? Maybe we don't know. Maybe it's an infinite supply of ideas and thoughts and values that will never have been created if those people don't get together.
Yeah. What's the cross? Like, here's the growth, here's the bringing the people together, here's the maximum eyeballs together to get to a creative place that you just couldn't get with a smaller number, layering on top, layering on top, layering on top. What's the thing that crosses it that supports the usefulness of it, so it doesn't go overboard where you can't actually use it anymore?
Mm.
Like filling up a cup of water. More water is a fuller cup, fuller cup, keeps on going. At a certain point, it starts spilling over. What's the lid?
Just sharing my thoughts out loud. It's applicability, I guess. Seeking the truth. Like how can you actually implement certain things that will be effective? And what's too much? Where's the line with that? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I guess comes back to the starting point, right? If you're 1 + 1 = 3, you have a much more flexibility and agility to move around, hit the reset button, move around again, hit the reset button, move around again, hit the reset button. But if you've got 10 people, 20 eyeballs, you might get, God, what's the maths, like 40, 60 times the opportunity for creation.
Right.
But you've also got much less agility. I think you see this sometimes in big companies as well, where you've got the big corporation and then you've got segregated organizations within that, so they can be agile but have the resources of that big organization.
Right. So you're asking what's the balance? Where's the balance at then?
Yeah. How do you know when it's about to get off balance?
Hmm. Good question. I would say it's either when some sort of department is not properly represented, or when one of those individuals or people or department has too much influence and decides that their value is more than the others.
Yeah. Right. I completely agree, by the way. What's the simple version of that? Like, is it just a case of taking it all back to the beginning and just asking, why are we even doing this? Do we have a common goal here? Are we all aligned with ultimately the value of where we're going? Because it's about vision. We don't know where we're going to end up precisely, but we do know that if we do certain things, we're going to go on a path towards in a direction. I guess it's just the lining up of, do you agree that this is the general direction that we're going in? And are you okay with us hitting the reset button every now and again, knowing that if you have that freedom, you'll get more creativity?
Yes. I think that speaks to the importance of having a mission statement, either for a company or a personal mission statement, because then it defines it. It's so clear on what it is. And if you get hired to be at that company, or if you are friends with certain people that have similar, missions or values, it'll be so clear to you when you're in the zone, so to speak, right? You think about sports teams, the leadership is at the management level, whether it's a manager or coach. They're guiding the team towards a common goal. It's easy in sports, right? Championship winning. But there's so many little victories in sports on an individual level, with learning how to lose, how to win, what to do in certain situations, how to bring up your team members. And those little victories within that organization build the idea within the grand scheme of things to build a championship team.
Yeah. I resist sometimes using sports analogies, but it fits so well. And we all know it so well. Like, if you're trying to win a championship, that's the vision. That's what excites you. That's what you're going to compel everyone to go towards, because it's bigger than the individual. Not one person can do all that. And you have to do it as a team. And then you come down to winning a game. Same thing. It's bigger, the grander scheme. On the face of it, one game might not feel like a big deal, but you've got to be associated enough with the larger vision of winning the championship to get excited enough to win the game to that level that you really need it to.
Right.
But that's not the next thing you need to do. If you're using football as an example, the next thing you need to do is get to the next first down. And then really, that's not even the next thing you need to do. It's to win the next, it's to get yards on the next play.
Right.
And life just becomes about moving the chains, one play at a time. So, like, to have that balance between the next play and ultimately winning the championship. That's it. I think that's the art of it.
Yeah, you want to talk about simplifying it. We're not. You ask somebody if they're worthy of winning a championship, they might say no. You ask somebody if they're worthy of gaining a couple yards. Do that every day. You're worthy of gaining a couple yards, aren't you? Make it simple, make it measurable, make it achievable, and you're on your way.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing when you can link your ultimate vision to the thing that you're doing right now. Super powerful. Super
And
powerful.
if I could take, so the breakdown of the sports analogy is that you're competing against other teams, and when you're in a business, sure, you have competitors, and on an individual level, sure, there's other people that are trying to get success too, but it works the opposite way. It's collaboration. It's bringing those other people in that will help you. You are worthy of getting to that goal, and you have it within you, but sometimes it takes others to bring it out of you. And that's where the value of collaboration comes in.
Spot on. It's funny because this morning I had one of our team huddles. I know you weren't on it, Coach, but for me, one of the things I celebrate was team huddles, because when you're not feeling 100%, and for me it was because I've been at the beach the weekend. I'm resetting. Like, this is the best way to reset myself, because I'm not going to take energy, because it can't come from you all the time. You want to be like the dynamo of energy to give to you and the people that you're working with and around, but you also want it from everyone else as well. It's like all of those things together make it more powerful. Again, 1 = 1, 1 + 1 = 3.
Absolutely. And the way you do that is developing those relationships so that you have access to them. So maybe when you're on top and when you are feeling good, reach out to other people and see how you can bring them up. And then when there is a time of need, you have a whole network of people that can do the same for you.
So let's boil it down a little bit then, and let's always keep things to threes. So 1 = 1 = 3. That's 1 + 1 = 3. That's a good way of thinking about it. But if you were to think about 3 actions that you would recommend to people listening and watching this, what jumps to mind?
I'll tell you, the first one is to develop where you're going, whether that's an end goal, something you want to achieve, or just a mission. The importance of having a personal mission of what you're doing here. Why are you here? You might as well think about that, because otherwise you're just kind of floating like a tumbleweed through life. It makes everything else so clear on your path. We'll bring back sports real quick. Is it about gaining yards? Is it about serving the ball? Is it about making the first pitch? What's the small steps? You can't figure out the small steps until you figure out why you're here, where you're going.
Right.
So that's number one. Might ask you for help on number 2 here.
Well, so I think about it this way, right? It's know where you want to go. Bring the right people with you. So it's create those relationships, be open to those relationships. And then I think number 3 is just a case of taking the steps. So it's like, where do I want to go? Who can come with me? Who can add power to this? And then how do I take the steps forward?
Action.
I think that's it. Just the action. Yeah. We're always creating stuff to action.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Really enjoyed doing this, and we should keep it going.
Absolutely. Thanks, Coach Nick.